Hello, all, and welcome to this session, which is about cookies, not the literal one, but the ones we see on the web. There are 6 exciting talks that are planned, and we are just going to start with the first speaker, Nurullah. And yeah, let's start.
Hi, I'm Nurullah Temish. In my presentation, I'll talk about the effectiveness of consent banner interaction tools and their impact on the privacy. This is a joint work with Tobias Urban, Norbert Vollmann, and Christian Resneger. So we all are already familiar with consent banners. When we visit web pages, we get these disturbing consent banners, and in many cases, we also have to interact with them. Otherwise, we don't get access to the web page content. And this is a disturbing factor when we surf in internet, and that's why we have some cool web browser extensions that do the job for us. They automatically interact with the consent banners based on user preferences, and they also claim to enhance the privacy. And they are also widely used by end users and researchers, but there's a problem. The problem is that there is no standards and regulations for consent banners. So some of website providers, they develop their own consent banners, and some of them use third parties, and they all work differently. So they respect the user preferences differently, and they manage the cookies differently. So this makes the job for the consent banner interaction tools challenging, and that's why the consent banner interaction tools, they also apply different approach. Some of them are based on machine learning techniques, and some of them work with rule-based techniques. And so in this complexity, we want to understand the effectiveness and impact of popular consent banner interaction tools. For that, we have run 5 different large-scale web measurements. In the first and main one, we had 9 different virtual machines, so we configured each of them. So we have installed one of the popular extensions in each virtual machine. So you see here they work differently, and they also support different consent banners. And we had also developed one, so we have also developed our own one, and we also had two baseline profiles which don't have any extension installed. And in the second measurement, we wanted to test the impact of single functionalities of these tools, and in the other ones, we wanted to test the regional impacts of these tools. So we used Tranco dataset, so we visited 30,000 sites, and we used multi-crowd, so this is our own framework, which allows to pages with different profiles at the same time. So it means we visited web pages at the same time. So each web page we visit them at the same time with different profiles, and then we collect the data and classify the cookies and identify the tracking requests. So here's some high-level results. So here we have number of cookies, and these are our profiles. So on very high level, we can see that number of cookies. So we see here big differences across different extensions. So that means they act differently, and which we now discuss in the next slides. So here we have 5 different cookie types. So the first one is unknown cookies, which we couldn't classify. And we had necessary cookies, performance cookies, targeting and advertising cookies, and also functional cookies. And so to remember, we have a baseline profile. So we don't have here any extension installed. And so let's begin with the consent banner interaction tools that accept all the cookies on the web pages. So we see that these extensions increase all type of the number of all type of the cookies, and the most increase we see is in targeting and advertising cookies. So when we compare the number of cookies with our baseline profile, so we can see that there is an increase, and the most increase was in targeting and advertising cookies. But the number of cookies also varies between these three extensions. So the next one, this is interesting. So here we have cookies. We have content banners that that should only accept functional cookies. So here we see that this is the cookie block extension. So here we have much less cookies than all other profiles, all other extensions. So less than also the other one that should also only accept the functional cookies. And so we can also we see here a difference not only between baseline but also similar tools here. And so the next category was the extensions that should reject all the cookies. So we don't see any differences between across these extensions. So they have similar. They don't increase the number of cookies overall, and the number of cookies stay here stable. So, and then we have identified some potential subsequent effects. So the extensions that accept all the cookies, so they increase the number of tracking requests. All of them increase this, and we see that after interaction, so we see 60% more tracking requests in the network traffic. So another interesting point is here that so the extensions that should only accept functional cookies. So in the previous slide, we have seen that cookie block, this was the fifth profile. So one would accept, so it had much less cookies than the other profiles. So one would expect here so less cookies, but less tracking requests. But this is not the case. So it leads to more tracking requests. The behavior, so in terms of tracking requests, was very similar to the extensions that accept all the cookies, but the other extension it also increased the number of tracking requests, but by 3%. And the extensions that reject all the cookies, so for them we don't see any differences. So the number of tracking requests on web page level stays stable. So and then next we tested the effect of different configurations, and so for this test we used Conz-Omatic, one of the most popular extension. We tested 8 different configurations. So in one configuration, it should reject all cookies. In another, it should accept only ads, and in another, only performance cookies. And we had also one vanilla profile. So here we don't have any profile, we don't have any extensions here. So we see that this fine granulation, so it doesn't really help to enhance the privacy. So because you can see here the number of cookies, so these are the number of cookies per page, so they stay very stable. And the most the big difference we see is in targeting and advertising cookies, but you can see here the difference is very minor. So the number of cookies stays very stable. Another difference we see is in tracking requests. Again here, when the extension accepts all the cookies, the number of tracking requests increase here. But it's also here interesting. So the extension, in the profile where we don't have any extension, we see the less tracking requests. So some recommendations for end users. So they should use ad blockers additionally because we have seen that there exist some side effects, and to avoid them, we recommend to use ad blockers additionally. And developers should also include community-driven projects to increase the coverage, because these tools don't work on all the web pages. So some of them work only on 10% of the web pages, another on 15% of the web pages. And we as researcher also should check on which web pages these tools work to reduce the limitations of our measurements, because there exist side effects, and we also should understand where these tools work. So to conclude, some key findings. So these tools offer quick control, but they vary significantly in effectiveness, and we also have seen some inconsistent outcomes for so similar tools show different results, and there exist also side effects. So we have seen some increase for some extensions. They increase the number of tracking requests, and we should consider the limitations that these tools cause so there are also variances that can impact our measurements, which we also should consider. So, and we publish all our data, measurement data, open source, and we have also a poster session, so you can stop by our poster, and thank you very much for listening.
Well, yeah, so we have time for a good couple of questions. Please raise your hand.
Hi, thanks a lot for your talk. I'm very curious to understand a little bit more about what you showed in slide 8. Sorry, you were discussing the potential effects of accepting functionality cookies and rejecting all cookies. So from my understanding, actually accepting functionality cookies only should have the same kind of behavior of the websites as rejecting all cookies, because when users say we reject, actually in practice that means that they reject only cookies that require consent, which are not the functionality cookies. So I'm wondering if you have any insights on why you have differences for the functionality cookies and no effect for the rejections.
Yeah, good question, thank you. So the problem is here, so the cookie block, so we have also one of the authors here. So the main reason is in that, so these cookies work differently, and so the cookie block is machine learning based. So they classify the cookies with machine learning based techniques, but the other one is they use they have rule based techniques. And here the cookie block, so it deletes the cookies. So I guess I also contacted with the authors. Also, it was also unexpected for them. Said this behavior increased the number of tracking requests. So the main reason is here because for example, so the reasons are here different. Cookie block, I guess that cookie block deletes also cookies, control cookies that prevents third parties for tracking requests. But the other one, this is super agent. So it allows the cookies classify the cookies wrong, that classify them as functional cookies, but they are targeting cookies. So it's a classification issue here, and they let the wrong cookies set, and which cause more tracking requests. Because, so I mean, if we don't have here control cookies to prevent the tracking requests, or for opt out, for example, then a third party can set the cookies, and which increase the number of cookies, tracking requests. So.
Let's thank the speaker.